Hello, it's Amy Rovale with the Jerusalem Connection Report. It is Friday, January 8th. Happy New Year. BDS, as it is not necessarily just about the Jews in the state of Israel. It can affect far more people than just those entities. An interesting op-ed in the Israel National News in late December by Italian journalist Giulio Miotti posited the fact that EU's anti-Semitic actions in mid-December that officially label Israeli products to encourage consumers in Israel not to purchase those products actually has a negative effect on the Christians in the Middle East. I'm reporting on this take because it's a good illustration on how things that are anti-Semitic are not just about our interests as Christians, but who want to bless those who bless Israel. But these anti-Semitic actions actually affect our Christian brothers and sisters in the region. Moreover, the EU's actions are often supported by liberal Christian churches and Arab Christians who have been duped into the lie of hating Israel. And this is hypocrisy at its best. In the Middle East, every 5 minutes a Christian is killed, usually by the hands of Islamic extremists and often under the guise of convert or die. And there are no legal protections for these Christians in these areas of the Middle East. Even if it's a rogue group of Islamists who are committing the crimes or the terrorism, there is no infrastructure in these nations to protect these Christians. Yet in Israel, the Christian church is completely protected by law. Christian communities in the Middle East as a whole are shrinking due to slaughter or an exodus to escape the slaughter. Yet in Israel, the Christian community is actually increasing. So why, Mr. Miotti posits, does the Christian community, represented in part by the EU, are they targeting Israel as the villain? Christian values in Europe are dwindling away in a sea of hypocrisy and giving Christians in the Middle East two options, two non-congruent options. It's either Israel or the Islamists. The logical question must go through the minds of the EU and the liberal Christian churches of Europe as to why they're demonizing Israel, the only safe haven for Christians in that region. While all its neighbors receive a pass on their actions and their human rights violations, the EU takes time, energy, and effort to combat the state of Israel and try to boycott their products. So it seems to me that their hate of Israel and the Jews is outweighing the very Christian values they espouse to have, or the European Union's values of Western thought, which include human rights, protections, and freedoms. So as we enter this new year, let's consider constantly looking at the situation of BDS among our economic bodies, our political entities and elected bodies, educational institutions, and all these actions being an assault on Christian values. And they are not acceptable and not tolerable in any form. We cannot sit back and say, this isn't my problem, I'm not a Jew, or I'm not an Israeli, why should I care? The worst case scenario is that people start to be lulled into the fact that maybe there's some truth to this BDS movement. These attitudes must be purged from our churches, our pulpits, our elected bodies, and certainly our colleges. And celebrities, too, must receive some pushback. Christians and Jews and all freedom-loving people who seek truth should be ever vigilant as we enter 2016 to be the watchmen for each other and ultimately combat tyranny and oppression, because they are agents of evil and they are manifesting currently in the BDS movement against the Jews and the state of Israel. We must combat this with hope and with action. And we can do it. For all things work together for good, for those who love God according to his purpose. My paraphrase, of course. Until next week, Happy New Year, Shavua Tov, Shabbat Shalom.